Thanks so much. I have a special guest with us, too, and we're going to talk about bullying and basketball, believe it or not, and how they can tie together. Can a simple message on a basketball make a difference in the lives of children and others who are bullied? That's a question. A new nationwide campaign says we have dropped the ball on treating one another with kindness. So there you see the ball on your screen in a photo, and here you see it live and in person. To talk more about the message, anti-bullying activist and author Gabriella Van Ray. Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You're in the middle of quite a trek right now with that basketball, aren't you?
I am. You know, I've been at it for 2 years. I wrote a book about my life, and I've been bullied most of my life for being short and brown-skinned and living in a predominantly white world in the Netherlands. And so I just decided that the word bullying wasn't really what we were after as a solution. It's the problem, not the solution. So I rather wanted to talk about the solution, which is kindness. Let's pick it up. And when I kept saying, let's pick it up, which I wrote here, of course, we'll pick it up together, I thought, how much better than sports? America's all about sports. And yes, I use basketball because when I go on assemblies, I can barely dribble it, but I use the basketball because the children understand it. And I bounce it really hard and I let it go. And then I said, we've dropped it. And the children get the concept of it, and actually everyone does. And so I'm going to print them on all the sports, so not just basketball. But we started this in Tulare Union High School in Tulare, California, where there's one principal in the last 2 years that I've done assemblies on anti-bullying that I've found that is as passionate and as interested in saving lives as I am. And so together we have said, okay, let's do this, and let's bring it out there, because they have a project called Project Z, and it's the buddy system in a nutshell, and it really works. It just works. If everyone is willing to do their part, it really works.
You're going to take this ball across the country now. You're going to hit 50 different cities and then eventually come back here to Washington to do what with it?
To bring it to the commander-in-chief of our country, President Obama, because I feel that because I have boots on the ground, I really know what is needed, what is missing out there, what legislation would really work for the children, not just because we adults think it might work.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because we talk so much about the problem and that the problem exists, and every time we hear about a young one who has taken their life or something has happened to them, that we are reminded of the problem of bullying. But let's talk about possible solutions. How do we counteract this? How do we make sure we don't drop the ball?
Well, first of all, we drop the ball often because we turn the other way. And we turn the other way because we really don't know what to do. I mean, I don't think it's because we're nasty people. We just don't know what to do. The educators are overwhelmed with lots of work and that on top of it. And so there is reports and reports and reports. And which one is the important one is the difficulty. And then we have a second problem that is really huge, I think it's a global issue, is social media, in the sense of not the technology, but the sense of, I call it now cyber tormenting, because the children really like that word. It's not harassment, that's too strong, but it is really a torment. And so I think it starts right there. Become an active witness, don't click on that share button. And the bully and the victim are mirror images of each other.
You said to me before we started this segment, this problem is a lot bigger than people realize.
Much bigger. If I look at the statistics of the United States, they don't match up at all with what is really out there. I mean, the statistics say 25%. I would say we're going up to 65, 75.
If we look at, and if we're talking about predominantly younger people here, it's not the kind of thing that you really, a lot of times kids can turn to their peers for support. In this case, it's not the kind of thing you really are bragging about, the fact that you were bullied. Is it harder for youngsters to get that peer support or to get help or to even address the issue that they're dealing with?
Well, I think in the beginning they actually try to address it through a friend or a teacher. But then they get so isolated, because when you get bullied on a regular basis, you get isolated and you get very, very fearful. And that's the problem. And then you don't communicate anymore. And then we have cases like Rebecca Sedgwick. And once we have that, then it's finished. There's nothing we can do anymore to help. So it's before this escalates. We need to find a method before it escalates to talk. And that's basically where I come in with the buddy system, because they see it. It's better that a student reprimands another student and say, hey, come on, guys, this is not the way, than to have an expert like me come in, or even an educator say, this is not okay. And punishment is not the answer. There's got to be more. Of course, when someone dies, there should be consequences. That's not what I'm saying. But I mean, before that, there should be consequences in the sense, let's talk, let's have dialogue, and nobody's willing to do that. Nobody.
Well, you're willing to spread the word. I know you're heading off to Florida to hit your next stop down there. And 50 cities later, we'll see you back here in Washington.
50 cities later, and the children love it.
Well, it's a good way to get their attention, if nothing else. It really is. Hopefully they start to accept the message as well.
I hope so.
You have a website as well, more information there. We can put that information online.
Thank you very much.
We'll link it to our website, too. Thanks for coming in. Best wishes with the campaign. Thanks, Gabriella. Wisdom, back over to you.
All right, Steve.